Hello everyone, I'm back. And for this video, we'll put our focus into the next steps of problem solving techniques or process. Now we go over to step 3 of the practical problem solving, which is set a target. Well, as an overview, setting targets that we will hit is also an important step as it forces us to make a commitment. So to be sure, this target or targets as it may be should definitely be a challenge, but also something that helps limit the scope, no? So in other words, guys, it becomes a must-do target. And remember, we only need this target to take us one step towards the ideal, meaning it doesn't have to be a giant leap towards perfection. No, instead we'll focus on taking one solid step at a time. Now, what you see on screen, we are the SMART targets. So this is an extremely important acronym. SMART here stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Okay, and as you've probably guessed, these 5 words offer the perfect roadmap for target setting. Okay, let's look at each one in turn. First one, targets must be specific, no, and not general in scope. So, for example, a general target might be I want to spend more time with my team. For example, a better, more specific target would be I will spend additional 3 hours with my team each week. For example, so that's specific. And then, secondly, a target must be measurable. In other words, we must be able to see and measure success in a qualitative manner. No, so a per target would be to improve customer satisfaction. Okay. On that note, a better target might be to increase the median score of the annual customer satisfaction survey by 10%. So not only is the latter more latter target more specific, now it's also measurable. And then third, targets must be attainable, meaning you're confident and excited about your ability to achieve them. So really, truly attainable targets are also ones where you can see progress being made. So much like mountain climbers experience as they climb higher and higher, no? Next, the R in SMART stands for realistic, okay? And this is closely linked with being attainable. Um, okay, so uh, so you must take care to always set goals and targets that are both realistic and challenging at the same time. Okay. And then next is targets must also be time bound. In other words, you must state when we hope to reach the goal or target in question. And this is extremely important as it creates a sense of urgency and commitment. All right. And then another concept to keep in mind here is something called uh, probably let's discuss this in a separate video, okay? But it's called Parkinson's syndrome, and it basically states that if you've given someone a deadline of say next Friday, they'll um, typically finish the task next Friday. However, if you give the same person the same task with a deadline of next Wednesday, they'll typically find a way of getting the job done on Wednesday. So while we're not really recommending you to simply shorten the deadlines, we are saying that time-bound targets can be powerful motivators, okay? And then we go over to the next step, uh, analyzing the root cause. All right, we start first by looking back at the points of cause. In a previous video, we learned about points of cause, which describe where the problem is happening within the process. And if we put another way, points of cause are the places the problem becomes visible, no? While the root causes are really the things that cause them. Okay. One way that we can think about this deeper is we imagine a large tree. Um, the part of the tree that we can see above the ground is the point of cause, while the roots under the ground could be likened to the root cause. And if we take one more step beyond this, these roots began to grow after some type of seed was placed into the ground and encouraged to grow by water and the right environment. All right. Now, with this said, let's turn our attention to some powerful methods anyone can use in order to really analyze and identify root causes. In subsequent videos, we'll take a deeper dive into several of these methods, explaining exactly what they are and how to leverage them to your advantage. Okay. Well, the first and arguably the most important concept to emphasize here is go see for yourself without prejudice. So in other words, we must go to Gemba. Um, and this is the place the work is done. And we do it with an open mind as we work to identify what's at the root of the issues. And while Pareto analysis here helps us identify uh, points as points of cause, as we learned about in the previous video, it can also help us identify root causes in pretty much the same way. Okay. And then third method is we talk about the concept of 5 why analysis. Well, this one too will focus in on 5 why on a separate video. But one of the key points I'd like to emphasize at this point is that we must work to drill down with 5 why on the same point of cause. So in other words, we don't want to ask 5 whys on separate issues. And instead, we want to drill down on the same point of cause. Okay. And then the next technique that we can use to identify root causes is what is called as 4M+2. Okay, where we basically work to identify potential root causes across 6 different categories, no? Okay, the first M stands for man, or it can also be referred to as person. And hold on. All right, so the first M here, as it represents man, it also represents the skills, technology, organization, and resources. For example, questions have such as, do our associates have the skill and the will to do what is expected of them safely, consistently, and effectively? Okay, so that's a point to begin with. And then the second M, it stands for material, where the potential root causes associated with things like dimensional issues and overall material quality. So these things are investigated also. And then the third M stands for machine. Here, we focus on the potential root causes associated with things like equipment condition and the settings used to operate the equipment. And then we have the fourth M, and it stands for method, for things like work instructions or the lack thereof, as well as the way jobs are performed. These are investigated, okay, as potential root causes. And may I emphasize the word potential, okay? And then the fifth M, it stands for Mother Nature. Here, the potential root causes associated with things such as temperature and humidity, they're also investigated. And then depending on where your company is located, this M can play a major role depending on the time of the year, no? And then the final M, it represents measurement. Here, the potential root causes associated with the capability or perhaps even the proper usage of measurement equipment is focused in on. Now, in order to help this facilitate this 4M+2 investigative process, we can use a powerful tool known as the fishbone diagram. But let's stop here for now, as we will be learning the more about the 5Y and the fishbone diagram in other training videos. Okay. All right, checking at the time. I think we don't have much left now, so we'll stop here for now, guys. And we'll slowly resume in the upcoming videos. So for now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel down below, and hit the notification bell as well so you get notified of important updates. Thank you, and bye for now.